You're listening to Brian Buschlach's Business Briefing on FM News 101.
Well, data and analytics really shaking up how we do business. And the good news is it's also reshaping the lending environment. This has a very positive impact for small and medium-sized business owners across America. I've been so impressed by the Credit Junction's business model. When I was in New York last week, I stopped by headquarters, caught up with Michael Finkelstein, who founded the company and is a business owner himself.
You're right. I was and still am today a small business owner. I think that to understand what we're doing from a product standpoint, it was great and has been great to live and breathe what your listeners live and breathe every day. And so I had a brief stint early on in my career on Wall Street and decided to go back to school, and that my passion was around creating and building something. And that led me to start a variety of small businesses. And I'm sure your listeners, have been through various iterations of their businesses. And I've lived and breathed that in both the highs and lows of being a small business owner. Lots of first 6 or 7 years of my career, missteps, if you will. But I think you learn from your missteps. I think that you understand and you take those experiences and move to the next stage of your small business evolution, if you will. And I've had some success over the past several years, and it's all led me to the Credit Junction. The Credit Junction was really, or has been and continues to be, the culmination for me personally of the ability to understand small businesses, understand what they need, understand that access to capital is the lifeblood of any small business in both times that is steady state and times of growth. And that we've come together, and we are a collection of small business owners here. We're a collection of former credit officers and technologists and data scientists and people who've been in public policy. And we all came together with the view that there's a better way. And now is the time that we were able to present a product to the community which helps small business owners along the way at every point of the life cycle of their business. And really, I love getting up every day and coming to work every day and seeing kind of the successes that we've been able to help make a reality.
Here we are in the heart of Manhattan. There's money flowing through the streets here, okay? You did something that I think is remarkable, for lack of a better word, in that you launched this company, and instead of, we will build it and they will come, you hit the road. Tell us about that.
Well, that's very gracious of you, those words. We did, and myself, initially by myself, and then with a gentleman named Sergio Rodriguez Jr., who joined on very early, and it was very much two guys in a garage trying to figure it out. But what we realized was our scope of influence, or where we lived, was not really reflective of what was going on in America. I'm from New York and Sergio from Washington, D.C. So what we did was we got on an airplane. We got on trains. We got in the car. We traveled to cities across the country, cities like Portland and Seattle, cities like Tulsa and Little Rock and Nashville and Greenville, South Carolina, cities like Santa Fe and Tucson, to understand really what small business owners needed in those places, but also understanding that the world had changed, that access to capital and that the traditional financial institutions, for a variety of reasons, were reshifting their focus. And really stepping outside of the New York, Washington, D.C. area allowed us to personalize it, to really understand these small businesses. We met dozens and dozens and dozens of business owners, just sitting down with them and saying, how can we help you? What kind of financial product could we build to really satisfy your needs? And that kind of market research doesn't come in an office. It comes by sitting across from people. And so that's what we did.
Michael Finkelstein joining us here at the Credit Junction. And, what you talk about really strikes a chord with our audience because, if you pick up the Wall Street Journal, you wouldn't think there's any issue out there obtaining capital or credit for any and all businesses across the country. But there is a humongous blind spot out there. You and Sergio know this because you deal with it on a daily basis where I have literally heard bankers tell me, hey, Brian, if it's not a $50 million company, we don't have the time. These are big banks, right? So you are filling a tremendous void. I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of people.
Well, I appreciate that. And we have heard it from a lot of people. And the void is real. And the reality of the last several years has been that consumers, small business owners, students, on the one hand, have had difficulty obtaining access to capital. But on the other, and this is why I really would encourage your audience to either reach out to us or go online and do some research, there are now opportunities. There are options for small businesses of all kinds, whether it's someone who owns a local restaurant or someone who is a supplier or a distributor of consumer products or whatever it may be. There are options now that will allow you to basically create the right capital structure. And I can't even tell you how important that is because having flexibility day in and day out allows you to focus on running your business and not worrying about if you increase demand, where's the money going to come from? Or if times are slow and you need to make payroll, where's the money going to come from? I've lived and breathed each of these decisions in my career. And what we're trying to do at the Credit Junction, and the Credit Junction is one of a multitude of options, is allow small business owners to have that optionality to increase when times are good and pull back when times are a little slow.
Well, it's important. We talk about that. And again, being able to run your business. And you and I talk about this. We've talked about it a couple of times where, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner. We've got business owners listening, and we all can relate to this where you're so busy running your business, right? To, deviate in any way, to have to focus on something that's not running your business, that can have a huge impact, not only on your bottom line, but on your personnel, your people, your family life at home. I mean, you are your business.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and I think small business owners can relate to what I'm about to say, which is small business owners are in charge of making payroll. They're in charge of providing for their employees. And there's a weight that you bear on that. However, there's an unbelievable benefit to that, which is you're building something, you're creating something, you have a dream, you're trying to fulfill that dream or that vision. I would say one other thing, which is that the Credit Junction, along with other potential options out there, are not just looking at the traditional methods around evaluating you and your business. This is not a FICO-driven analysis. This is not the box analysis that you may be accustomed to. This is really using data and technology to create a better view of your business, to create and understand your business on levels that previously we weren't able to do so. And that affords us the ability to deploy capital to you and also have you have the ability to access additional capital in the future seamlessly, efficiently, and quite frankly, almost immediately. And I think the ability to use data and technology on the one hand, but also preserve and still maintain a human relationship that you can call someone, there's an account executive that you can talk to. The balance of those two, I think, is extremely important to most small businesses that I know of, and I think really sets apart the new wave of alternative lenders out there.
Well, Michael Finkelstein, building a business and building it right. Great to catch up with him in New York last week. When we come back, big news from Expedia. We'll tell you what they're up to up next here on Business Briefing.